Hello, Enrique. Well, at the end of this presentation today, you will either have the opportunity to list your home with me, or you will not list your home with me, or I will decide not to take your listing. Any of this is fine. Now, let's take a moment and review the questions I asked you before. First, you said you were moving because your spouse is being transferred to another state, correct? Okay. And then you said that you had to be there by August, right? Okay. You would like to price your home at 400,000? Is that right? Okay. Now, you weren't planning on selling it yourself, were you? Great. Now, let's look at the two issues. Number one, your motivation to sell this home. And two, the price we set on your home. And here I have prepared a comparative market analysis. There are two parts to this research I made for you, Enrique. Part one, we will look into the marketing and servicing we provide, and part two, we will see what is the ideal listing price for your home through our data. The purpose of this comparative market analysis is to determine the value of your home in the eyes of a buyer. Do you know how a buyer determines the value of your property? Well, they do it by comparison shopping, basing their decisions on features and benefits and comparing it with the features and benefits of similar homes in the market. Make sense? Beautiful. Now, before we price your home, we need to know more about the people who is most likely to do so. That's why we need to have a buyer's profile based on the data that we have available from this particular market. Yes, the data that I have gathered and this research is from this particular market, Enrique. So here we can see the income range of the potential buyers as well as data related to the countries those buyers are coming from. Isn't that great? Now, here you can see a thermometer that shows what kind of buyers are more likely to buy from this area, and the map that will help us focus our market strategy to the countries where those potential buyers usually come from. Now, these are the four main channels that we utilize to get your property in front of everybody. Internet, we will use pro pictures, we will have a specific website for the property. We will adjust the strategy that we got from the buyer's profile information and use that information in the social media options that we have available. And finally, we will list your property in over 1,500 websites. Well, the strategy, therefore, will include real estate events, emails and flyers, listings in the MLS, and unbranded materials for the other agents to resend for more effectiveness. We will be targeting towards first buyers as well as converting existing tenants that are paying rents that are similar to a mortgage for your property if they choose to buy your home. And now let me take a minute to tell you about our company and the way we do things. And this is the Avanti way. Our philosophy is transparency, so that all the parties, including you, Enrique, can see the process and are allowed to collaborate in the transaction. Enrique, our systems will let the sellers view the information on his property, such as historical showings, exposure, and track the various activities and milestones during your transaction. Also, in our company, Avantiway, we train the real estate agents in the art of negotiating. So be sure that I will defend your equity and interests. And finally, it's important that you know that we aren't rookies in this market. We are actually the fastest growing company in South Florida, and this means that you have pros in real estate and also in legal matters by your side. Now, this is the second part, Enrique. But first, did you understand the market strategies, the services, and the benefits that I will bring to the table in order to maximize the value of your property? Beautiful. Then I will help you understand the pricing of your property. As you can see in this triangle, we can see how many buyers we can attract depending on how we price your property. This data, by the way, is pulled from the Board of Realtors, which is a very important and reliable institution that has historical data on the market that we are in. Based on this, where do you think we should place the price? Correct. Now let's continue. In this slide, we can see the two types of buyers. First is the mature buyer. Now, who are the mature buyers? These are people who have been in the market before and can perceive the value of your property. And second, we have these guys who are the new buyers, who have limited ability to perceive the value of your property and will most likely lowball you. So Enrique, if your property is in the hands of an experienced agent and your property is not sold within the first 3 to 4 weeks after the listing, it will be exposed to new buyers who, like I said, are likely to lowball you and give you shameless offers, and you will have to drop the price. Now, in this map, you can see information of the comparables, the average days a property was active in this market, the discount rate, and down here, how many days it took to sell the property. That means that if we price this beautiful property of yours correctly, it will be sold quicker. Here we can see the market data. For example, at what rate the value is increased, which in this case is going upwards over time. Here we have the number of days it was on the market and percentage of the discount. We can see here that the quarters of the last 2 years and the numbers of days it took for a property to be sold has remained steady, but the discount percentage had many fluctuations and has gone up in the last quarter, probably due to the faulty pricing and more days in the market, which, like I told you, exposes the property to new buyers. Now, in this next graph, we can see the active versus closed properties in the area. An absorption rate, which is obtained dividing sold homes over a period of time with the active homes in the market, which shows us how quickly or slowly a house is selling. Okay? In this case, it gives you a good absorption rate. Now, finally, we can see the graph that shows us the units sold and the average price per square foot in the area. We can clearly see that it has dropped in the last quarter. We can't see the results of the current quarter, though, yet until June. And we will also see, in June, the impact of the quarantine on sold units during this period. Now, based on these graphs, we can be certain that the market is picking up, which is good news to you, Enrique. Now, listen, Enrique, you mentioned that a neighbor who is selling his apartment that has similar characteristics to yours, right? Okay, here in this list, I found your neighbor's property so you can have a peek of the pricing and details of his unit. And yes, I made sure to include it in the comparables along with the others that have sold or are selling that are very similar to yours. Now, before we go to the next slide, let me ask you this. Based on all you have seen so far, Enrique, what price do you feel your home is worth? Okay, and specifically, why do you feel your home is worth $400,000 more than your neighbors? I see what you say. Now, let me ask you this. If a buyer wants to buy your home, but they plan to get rid of the curtains you bought and the wooden furniture the moment they buy it, how much do you think it is worth then? So, did you add that to your home for the next buyer or for your own enjoyment? Exactly. That's why I will go ahead and recommend a price of $254,000. Now, based on what we know so far, Enrique, do you want to list your home for that price? No? What will happen if we list the property at $400,000 and we cannot sell the property? Right? Okay, perfect. Then, so a final yet important thing is how much I am going to earn for being your ally in this process. My commission is no different than the national norm, which is 6%. First objection. Now, as I showed you before, the marketing tools are part of my premium marketing plan that provides you with the maximum exposure to the marketplace that results in the maximum net price to you. If you want to pay a lower commission, I will be happy to refer you to an agent who provides limited service rather than the premium services that I offer. Second objection. Enrique, take a look at this printout of properties that expired versus those that went under contract. Now, what pattern do you see with respect to the commissions? You pay a commission only when your property sells. When your listing doesn't sell, the amount of commission you negotiated is irrelevant. Third objection. Enrique, if you are going to choose a realtor that can't even protect his commission and gives you a discounted rate, how is he going to protect the equity in your home when it comes to negotiation? Beautiful. Okay, all we need to do is simply sign the contract, and that's it. Thank you, guys.